Hello and welcome to another episode of UA's Double Overtime. I'm Connor Delaney, and unfortunately we don't have Vic Weberman here, but filling in for him we have a special guest. You may know him as, if you give him a good pass, he'll catch you later, our very own Mike Wolf.
Vic, don't worry, buddy. Your job's safe. I'm just keeping the seat warm.
Just keeping the seat warm. Mike, it's good to have you on the show. Looking forward to it. First order of business, probably the biggest news out there. Miguel Cabrera, he just won the Triple Crown for the MLB last night. Mike, what do you make of this feat? And is this something that hasn't been done in over what is 30, 40 years now? I mean, what do you make of this?
Yeah, it's about 45 years. Carl Yastrzemski, 1967.
1967, yeah.
He just had a great year. 330 batting average, 100 and about 44 RBIs, 43 home runs. Who's better than him right now?
I mean, it's tough though because you got all right. Yeah, he won. 330 batting average, 44 home runs, 139 RBIs. Mike Trout, though, they're talking about, because Mike Trout, he had a 30-50 year. He had 30 home runs, 49 stolen bases, batted .326. I mean, is there a case you could make for Trout competing with Cabrera for an MVP race, or do you think it's solely Cabrera has it just because of the feat of the Triple Crown? I
mean, if you watch the games, Trout's making spectacular catch after spectacular catch. His numbers are up there. He's been around 325. His homers are a little low. His RBIs are lower than Cabrera's, but that doesn't mean he's not a team leader. That doesn't mean he's not an MVP candidate. He's got 40 stolen bases. I mean, the guy can do it all just like Cabrera.
His team's not in the playoffs, though. Should that, when factoring in for an MVP race, should we factor in whether the team makes the playoff or not? You could have the best player in the league but be on the worst team, but how valuable is he to his team if they're not in the postseason?
I think so, because Detroit was in a few slumps this season, and Cabrera's hitting. His back got them out of it every time.
I agree. I mean, that's what your MVP should be. He should be there for when you are in those slumps, like you said, and he ignites the team, gets the team going. The reason I like Trout is because defense. He's more all around than Cabrera. He has more stolen bases, but Miguel Cabrera, it hasn't been done since 1967. I think it's a sure case that Miguel Cabrera is 100% MVP. And people are going to make the case. People are going to say, well, and don't get me wrong. Mike Trout has a great future. He's a rookie. He has a great future ahead of him. He's going to have a great career, long career in the MLB. But I mean, I think we can pretty strongly agree on that Miguel Cabrera will be the MVP. But we'll leave that behind. MVP race, Miguel Cabrera. Congratulations to him. We're going to go right into our AL Division Series. Yankees won, clinched last night.
Yankees clinched last night. It was a big win. They needed Orioles to make sure they lost. Yankees win. If Orioles
won in high fashion last night. Let's just say that
won in high fashion.
3 home runs.
The Grandy man can.
Granderson
had 2 home runs.
Holy cannoli.
Robinson Cano had 2 home runs.
Home run there.
6 RBIs. Who's hotter than Cano right now? No one's hotter than Cano right now. Who would you rather have on your team to go into the playoffs to start? Robinson Cano or Miguel Cabrera? Right now, I'm going to say Robinson Cano.
Well, that's the thing with the Yankees right now. I feel like they're just, with that series against Boston, they're really hitting their stride as far as how they've been playing. Their pitching's been well. CC's came back, pitching pretty well. I mean, their bats have been extremely high. Like you said, Cano, Granderson, Ibanez being clutch the other night, hitting that home run to tie the game up. So I really think the Yankees heading into the postseason are a perfect spot, right where they need to be. Joe Girardi, I think he did a really good job getting them ready and resting up who he needed to, like taking that time for CC to skip him, scratch him for a few starts, and then get him healthy where he needs to be. So I really, as a Yankee fan, it's promising to see the Yankees in the form that they are heading into the postseason.
Not only that, Andy Pettit's back. Most career postseason wins out of any pitcher of all time with 17. Most career postseason clinching series wins. There's no one better than Andy Pettitte pitching in the postseason. I would rather have no one on my back.
And that's why I like having our statistician on the show, because you come out with stats like 17 postseason wins. That's good.
Andy Pettitte, core 4, one of my favorite of all time.
I agree.
Number 46.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's he's without a doubt the best postseason pitcher. At least I've been able to witness. But let's go into we got the new MLB wild card system set up in play. The one game is this Friday night. We have. For the AL, we have the Orioles and the Rangers. Mike, who do you see taking this game? Right now, the Orioles have yet to announce their starter. It's undecided who they're going to start, but the Rangers looks like they'll be starting Yu Darvish, who's had a pretty good year. So
yeah, Yu Darvish is pitching great. Depending on who Baltimore's throwing, it could go either way. I mean, if it goes into extra innings, I'll tell you what, Baltimore's winning it. If it goes past the 9th inning, Baltimore doesn't lose.
Yeah? What makes you say that?
The past 3 weeks, they've been going to the 11th inning, 14th inning. They're not losing. They're not giving up. They put in a lot of fight.
But is their lack of experience? I mean, Buck Showalter is obviously an experienced manager, but would their lack of experience, new team kind of be put together for the first time in the postseason, which good for them. I mean, they put a great team together. They have great young talent, like guys like Adam Jones, Jim Johnson in the bullpen, and to put this team together and get all the way to the playoffs. But will that? The Rangers been there. They've won a title. I mean, will that experience the Rangers have for that one game, will that make a difference in the outcome of the game?
I think it will. Also, I think it won't. You know, like you said, Baltimore's young. They're having fun with it. They want to win. They haven't been there
Buck
yet.
Showalter's really turned this team around when he got hired as manager, a year ago. I mean, they made a good stride last year, and just for them to even get to the postseason, and beat out teams like Red Sox, the Rays, teams like that in the AL East, which is, in my opinion, the strongest division in baseball. It's really a good feat for them just to even and be there and play a team like the Rangers. I think it's going to be a great game. Friday night, I'm really looking forward to those wild card matchups. But then our next series is Detroit and the Athletics. What do you make of that series? A 3-game series?
You know what? Athletics are playing good baseball. They're one of the best in the league right now, but they're inexperienced also. And when it comes to a 3-game series, I think it's Detroit's game.
I think Cabrera. You have that heart of the lineup between Cabrera, Prince Fielder. Delman Young in there. Verlander. You got the best pitcher in baseball, and Verlander on the mound starting the game. I think that goes to Detroit. Experience. Jim Leland he's been there. He has 2 World Series. The guy knows what he's doing. As Yankees fans, who would you rather see the Yankees have a matchup against after that one game? The Orioles or the Rangers?
I like to see the Orioles.
You like to see the Orioles? You think they have a better shot of advancing against the Orioles as opposed to the Rangers?
I think the Yankees could beat the Orioles. The Yankees have 4 of the best hitters of all time. 4 of some of the best hitters of all time with Alex Rodriguez, Ichiro Suzuki, Derek Jeter, and right now Robinson Cano. 3 of them, yes, are aging. They're old, but
that experience in the postseason. I mean, they've been there. They have the experience.
They know when to turn it on.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that facing the Orioles gives the Yankees an advantage because they're in the division. So they've played them more times throughout the season. So they're just more familiar with them. They have a good record against them throughout the season. So I'm really looking forward to. I hope they play the Orioles. I think that'd be a better matchup for the Yankees as we have struggled with the Rangers in the past. But either way, I'm confident enough in the Yankees in the way they're playing right now and the strides they're taking heading into the postseason that they're gonna, whoever they're playing, they're gonna have a good series against, and hopefully they can get to the World Series again. I'd love to see that. But let's move away from the AL. Stop talking Yankees. Yankee heartfelt fan here, so it's kind of tough. But we're going to the NL. The first wild card game there is between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves. What do you make of that matchup?
I want to take Atlanta, preferably because Chipper Jones is last year. I want to see him make a run for it. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Why not? I want to give it to him. I hope he gets it. St. Louis also isn't. They're not bringing much to the table right now. I feel like they just squeezed in there. They didn't really have a good end of the season. You
have to give St. Louis credit though, because coming in the season, they won the World Series to end last year's season. Tony La Russa leaving, Albert Pujols, arguably the hottest name in the free agent market there, leaving, and everyone didn't give them a chance. But guys, David Freese step up, Jason Ma in the bullpen. They have good pitching staff there that really stepped up in the absence of the other losses there. So I think it's gonna be a good series. I'm more looking forward to the Washington Nationals, and they have a bye. They'll be playing the winner of St. Louis and Atlanta. They rested Strasburg leading up to this, so he's gonna be healthy, ready to go. What do you make of the Nationals, and do you think they can make a serious, legitimate run?
I think they definitely can make a serious, legitimate run. The only thing I'm worried about is Strasburg. Yeah, they sat him, but he's not warm.
Do you think that exactly? He's not coming in like we were talking about the Yankees hitting those strides. You have CeCe who took that rest, hit that stride. Do you think that's going to affect Strasburg in the way he pitches in the postseason because he was rested for a few starts there?
I think that definitely will. A lot of postseasons come out to who's hottest at the moment. Mm-hmm. If he's not in there, pitching right now, getting his reps, warming up for it, I can't see him pitching well.
I agree. And changing gears here. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, but you look at the Giants last year in the NFL, the Super Bowl. You look at the UConn Connecticut Huskies last year or 2 years ago when they won the NCAA tournament. They won off the Big East tournament. And that's kind of the trend you see with teams in postseason atmospheres where they're hot, they're coming off a good streak here, and I think the Nationals, with resting Strasburg, it's not like they're. I was against the move from the start. I think he was pitching well. He's your best pitcher. Let him hit his stride going into a postseason as opposed to rest him and then say, okay, let's get the gears going again. Let's get everything going. But there is another matchup, and we have the San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds. Giants won a World Series a few years back, so I mean they have the experience. The Reds, a new young team, making it there for the first time in that Central Division. What do you like in that matchup?
I like the Reds. This season, I didn't expect them to come up on top, but they did. Also, the Giants, they have the hitting, they have the pitching, they have the experience. Although they did lose their best hitter, Melky Cabrera, in the middle of the season due to steroids, I think they could do it without him. They didn't need him towards the end of the season. They're not going to need him in the postseason. I think Giants are going to take it.
I like Cincinnati though. I like that young team. I think they're hungry. Coming in. But Joey Votto, great young talent. Chapman there, he's a fantastic closer. They have the arms there. But it's gonna be a good series. Who do you have? You pick. It's a little early, but prediction. World Series.
I'm gonna have to say Yankees Nationals.
Yankees Nationals. The two teams with the byes. Okay.
Andy Pettitte closes it out, gets the final win.
Andy Pettitte gets the final win. I like that.
Gets the final win.
I'm gonna go Yankees in the AL, and for the NL, I'm gonna have to go with the Cincinnati Reds. So here we got Yankees Nats from Mike. We're gonna document this. Yankees Nats from Mike and myself. I'm gonna go with the Yankees as well and the Cincinnati Reds. And that wraps up our first half here, folks. So stay tuned. We'll be back for the second half.
Freak me, baby. Oh, yeah. Freak me, baby. Just like that. Freak me, baby. Oh, yeah. Freak me, baby. Let me lick you up and down till you say stop. Let me play with your body, baby. Make you real hot. Let me do all the things you want me to do. 'Cause tonight, baby, I wanna get freaky with you. Baby, don't you understand? I wanna be an estimate. I wanna make your body scream. And you will know just what I mean. You know what I mean. 24 karat gold. Back on the track for a little greenback. Got to find just the kind of losing my mind. Outside in the night, outside in the day. Back on the track, gonna do it my way. Outside in the night, outside in the day. Looking back on the track, gonna do it my way. Looking back. Looking for somebody that's believed, so lonely as the light. Got the left to the right. Looking upstairs, looking down.
And we're back. This second half, we're going to start off with the NFL. Connor, what do you think about these refs coming back instead of the replacement refs?
I want the replacement refs back. They blew my Bills game. No, it's great. The NFL needed to do this. They made the necessary adjustments. After that Monday Night Football game, Packers, Seattle. I know you hear me in there, Spencer. I know you're a little upset, probably sweating in there. But that touchdown call, that was ridiculous. I mean, it was first hand. The guy had the ball. What's his name? The guy in the Packers. I'm drawing a blank there, but he had the ball in his hand. It was clearly ripped out. Terrible call. Just it's great to have Ed Hockley back on the NFL field where he's supposed to be. It's great for the NFL. The NFL had to do this. You can tell the pace of the games are better. The games are more under control. You don't see players, fighting and taking 10, 15 minutes to break up a skirmish where, the refs have the game under control as opposed to these players just walking all over the old replacement refs that we were used to. So I just,
I have to agree. Although the replacement refs did bring a little excitement, You never know what was going to happen. A touchdown could be called a safety. It didn't, it wasn't making any sense
They were
out
putting
there.
the ball wherever they wanted.
Like you said, I'm glad to see Ed Hockley back. He's looking bigger. He's looking stronger.
Definitely.
He's looking better.
You know what he was doing with his time. He was in the weight room.
To build on the Packers-Seahawks, one ref was calling touchdown, the other called safety. They were doing the YMCA out there.
The one guy called the touchdown, the one guy called it off. So, how are you going to have two, one make one call, one make the other call? Obviously, the crowd, being a hometown crowd, is going to react to that touchdown call, put pressure on them. Pete Carroll's in the guy's ear talking, and they didn't review it. They did review it, but they didn't. It just was a mess, and that poor Packers fans, worldwide, were just crying.
You know what? The refs are back.
The refs are back, and they need to be. And, transition from the refs, obviously, the NFL knew what they had to do there and make that happen. Let's talk some of last week's matchups. We had the Jets absolutely getting shut out and annihilated by the 49ers. What did you make of that game? Is it time for Tebow? Is it Tebow time?
It's Tebow time. I think a lot of Jets fans are turning to Giants fans, so who knows what time it is for Tebow. But I can't even say it's Tebow time.
I watch, I don't know what time it is for Tebow. But
Tim Tebow came in and threw one pass. It was an interception. Is it Tebow time? I don't think so. I think it's time for a whole new quarterback. Maybe McElroy will come in.
Yeah?
See what he could do.
He's the only one that threw a touchdown in the preseason, so maybe they'd be better off with him. But, the Jets they need to do something there. Rex Ryan said, he said Darrelle Revis will be back in time for the Super Bowl. This is the statement he made in the press conference, which, that's just Rex Ryan being Rex Ryan, typical Rex Ryan. But on a serious note, do you think it's time for Tebow to step in for Sanchez? Sanchez, he had 96 yards. He looks terrible. He hasn't had a game where he's completed over 50% of his passes in the past 3 games or something like that. He's been disgustingly awful, in my opinion.
I don't know if it's time for Tebow. I just do know it's time for a change. Sanchez, they're giving too much credit to. Over the years, he had a couple good seasons. He brought them to the AFC Championship twice. But in reality, he's not a top-tier quarterback. He never will be. He can't throw the deep ball. He's never going to be able to. Santonio Holmes is out. Darrelle Revis is out. The Jets aren't looking good. Never mind the Super Bowl for Rex Ryan. I don't think they're making the playoffs. Talk about a playoff team, Giants, Eagles. It was a close game. They started off close. Just when it came down to the wire, Giants couldn't fit it. What do you think about that?
You're the Giants fan here. What do you think about that?
I am the Giants fan. I am a little hurt by this loss. We had a great comeback towards the end. I thought it was going to be another Eli Manning fourth quarter comeback. We had some penalties thrown our way. Gave us over 20 yards to get to that field goal range, but we threw one deep ball to Ramses Barden. Little offensive interference. Could have been defensive interference. I think the refs made the right call. Asamoah.
I agree. That was a tough call, but I think the refs did get it right. I think Philly, Vic didn't throw. He hasn't thrown a pick in his past 2 games. Everyone's been on him about the interceptions. His first 2 games throwing more interceptions than he did touchdowns, but the past 2 games he's really calmed down and reading defenses actually, doing things that a quarterback should be doing rather than just out there running and gunning. Eagles you got to tip the hat to the Eagles. They've been squeaking by in their wins, but they are 3-1. They're looking good. They're a good football team. Credit to Andy Reid because Andy Reid's been on the hot seat. I feel like the past 3 seasons here because he's always getting some type of slack. But the Giants, I feel like they could have had one more last play down there just to get the ball a little closer. I don't know. I feel like that was a poor choice on Tom Coughlin's part there. What do you think about that?
Well, I think they could have. I've gone against Tom Coughlin in the past, and every time I do, he'll do something next week to prove me wrong, and he'll make the right call then. So, I'm not worried about it. I used to not like him, but he's one of my favorite coaches of the Giants ever. He's done a great job in the past. He's going to lead them to the Super Bowl again this year. I'm not worried about that. But aside from that, let's talk about Monday Night Football. Bears-Cowboys.
Whoa, first, you just had your chance right. We got to talk about Bills-Pats. You just had them at the Giants. Bills-Pats. Bills are up 21-7. 21-7. Pats scored 35 unanswered points, 52. Ryan Fitzpatrick's overthrowing, underthrowing, throwing picks. The Bills break my heart every Sunday.
What's going on? Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't look like he knows how to read a defense. He's a brainiac, but he can't read. You explain that to me.
It's inexplainable, Mike. It's inexplainable. We signed this guy. We give him $60 million a quarter way through a season. When we start off, we should have let him finish the season out, and then we can talk, contract. Let's get somewhere rather than a 4-1, 4-0 start, whatever it was.
After he signed that contract, he's had about double the amount of interceptions that he has touchdowns. So one of the worst deals I've ever seen take place, at least in Buffalo history.
My blood's boiling right now. You got me all jacked up. Let's go into Monday Night Football. Bears Cowboys. Tony Romo looking almost as bad as Fitzpatrick. He was probably worse than Fitzpatrick and Sanchez combined on that Monday Night Football game. But was that all his fault? Some of those interceptions.
That's what I'm going to ask you. Do you think it was Tony Romo's fault, or do you think it was...
A few were down the stretch. I mean, it's a late in the game. They're down. He's trying to make some throws. But one of them hit Ogletree right in the chest, flew up in the air, and then easy interception.
Balls that you have to catch.
Exactly. Balls that had to be caught. The one was a missed route by Des Bryant there. It was clearly a miscommunication there. Des Bryant, he did like a little fade route, and then Tony Romo thought he was going to do a curl, and he kept going, and Charles Tillman was right there to pick six, end zone. So, I mean, just little mistakes like that. I don't know if it's miscommunication, if Tony Romo tried audible and he just couldn't hear it, or what the case was there. But, to Tony Romo's credit, they weren't all his fault. A few were plays that, either because of A, miscommunication, or B, just a drop pass, and things happen. And that's the way the NFL goes sometimes.
Also, don't take credit away from the Bears' defense. The Bears' defense was looking great out there. They were there to make the plays. They
and
were
Jay
in the
Cutler
right position
played.
at all times.
And Jay Cutler's that quarterback. He has that Tony Romo-esque where he can, move around the pocket, make things happen.
He also has,
go ahead.
He also has the weaponry of Brandon Marshall. I think he had 138 yards and a touchdown.
Brandon Marshall, Devin Hester caught a touchdown. So, but yeah, Bears were good. So that's going to wrap up our second half. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a special topic. Then we're going to our big finish. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We have our big finish, but before we get to that, last night we had the presidential debate, and with that being said, we had Mitt Romney, Barack Obama, and rather than talk about politics, stuff like that, this is a sports show. We're going to talk. You have one drive on a football field. Who'd you rather have leading your team down the field? Would you rather have Mitt Romney in there under center, or would you rather have Obama?
The thing is, Obama has the experience. He has 4 years under his belt, but I do like Mitt Romney. He's that pocket passer. I feel he'll stay in the pocket. He'll stay behind his line, get the pass off where it needs to go. I'm going to have to say Mitt Romney behind there.
Really? See, me, if I'm, taking the last second shot, I'm going to have to go Obama. He's out there. He's out there playing with the Carolina Tar Heels. He's doing his thing. He's got a little handle to him.
Well, you know what? You also got to worry about the O-line. This is my man, Jimmy McMillan. I don't know if it's too late or not, but I hope he's still reeling in the polls for the rent is too damn high party.
I take Ron Paul behind center all day.
Ron Paul behind center.
50-yard Hail Mary, Ron Paul touchdown, game over. But that's gonna wrap up that presidential debate topic here. We're gonna move on to our big finish. First things first, Bobby V getting fired. What do you make of that?
They brought Bobby V in to get the wins. He didn't get the wins. Get him out of there.
Get him out of there.
Next up, World Series. When I want the Yankees.
Bronx
winning the World
Series. I
Series.
can't say anything other than that. Yankees all the way. Done. Going to NFL. Philly Pittsburgh. Who do you got in that matchup?
Neither have been playing good football. Going to have to take Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger's been running the game.
Pittsburgh, they need to win.
Denver, New England. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, first ballot.
I gotta go Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is one of my favorite players. I go Peyton. Done. What about you?
I'm going to have to go Peyton Manning also. You know what? He's been slacking at the beginning of the season, but he's bringing it back. He brought the heat last week.
I like it. Going from the pros to the amateurs, we got LSU, Florida. I have to go LSU, Les Miles and the Mad Hatter. What about you?
Number 4 LSU. That defense is impenetrable. West Virginia. You got West Virginia this week?
West Virginia, Texas. I got to go West Virginia, the Mountaineers. Geno Smith, he threw 8 touchdowns last week. 20 touchdowns on the season, 0 interceptions. Got to go the Mountaineers.
Over 600 yards in one game. How could you beat that?
How could you beat that? Yeah.
One of the best quarterbacks in the NCAA right now.
But that wraps up our big finish there. And now we're looking at what are you watching this weekend? What are you going to watch?
I'm not sure what to watch. I know I'm going to be over your house playing.
What to play is more like
NBA 2K13.
rather than what to watch, it's what to play. We'll be playing NBA 2K13. I'm gonna show Mike a thing or two. Probably a few blowouts. You might leave my house crying, but
I don't think so. Not when I'm playing with my New York Knickerbockers.
Think so?
There's
All right,
no way.
you heard it here first. So but hey, take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Catch you later if you give me a good pass.